I'm Who Your Daddy, and I'm here to bring you my draft tips. Don't go in with a set strategy. You don't want to go in expecting to get a running back and have Calvin Johnson fall to you toward the end of the first round. It would be better for you to take Calvin Johnson there and come back around and get either another running back or another top wide receiver and just wait on the running backs. There are so many teams that run a running back by committee now, but there's only 3 to 4 really top backs, and the rest of them are about even. So the level of drop-off is not as significant in the later rounds between the second round and the fifth round. So try to wait on running backs if you can't get one of the top running backs in the first round. Know your league scoring before the draft. I've seen on a lot of forums and even one of my leagues before where people did not know the rules before the draft, whether it's PPR, if it's not PPR, if you can start 2 quarterbacks, if it's a 2 quarterback league or a super flex league. Knowing how many of those players you need to start is something you need to know before the draft, especially if it's PPR, non-PPR as well. Know which players are already out for the season. You don't want to go into a draft and draft somebody that's already on injured reserve for the entire season. Know the ADP of the players you really like. You don't want to go in overdrafting a player by 4 or 5 rounds if you can wait another 3 or 4 rounds before you pick him up. I'm all for getting the guy you want, but try not to overdo it when you can get some better players in between them before you actually take the guys you want. Use your draft position to your advantage in the snake draft. If you're starting off with 8 or between like 8 and 11 or 2 and 4, you actually have an advantage over the person that's going to be behind you on the turn around. So if you're in 4 or 5 rounds in and you're looking to maybe get your quarterback, but all the guys behind you already have your quarterback, well then it's not actually great for you to go ahead and pick the quarterback now, get another player at another position, and then come back later on the way back and then get your quarterback. No player movements and coach movements. Coach movements is also important because if you have a new offensive coordinator come in and lets you throw the ball, it's going to be better for the wide receivers and a little worse for the running backs. If you have a running back-minded offensive coordinator, you're more likely going to be running a lot more than passing. For example, Cincinnati this year, they brought in Hugh Jackson, who's looking to run the ball a lot more this year for Cincinnati, which is going to be using a little bit less Andy Dalton, so we'll see how that affects A.J. Green and the tight ends there in Cincinnati. Don't draft your kicker and defense too early. I've been in a league where one guy was trying to fill out his entire starting roster before the 8th round. So he actually drafted like a kicker in the 7th round and his defense in the 8th. Then he had absolutely no backups whatsoever. If you're drafting your kicker and defense too early, it's really going to hurt you when you try to have your backups for your bye weeks. I'm Who Your Daddy, those are my draft tips. Thanks guys.